Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Pillars of Eternity: The White March. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy to have you here as I make this decision that is gonna kill one of my companions, or the Baragan's ogres. I have decided to go with Manaha. And it was a close decision. I haven't tried myself. I don't know if I die or if that saves everybody. The reason is I don't want to do that, and I don't want to spoil myself and then do it off camera. Just, I don't know. I don't want to go there right now. So Manaha wanted to do this. She wants to. Yeah, I don't know. I think. Let's see her quest. Let's see her quest and let's see how that turns out. So Manaha is gonna be the one to use Abaddon's hammer in this crystal over here. All is silent as you approach Manaha.
When I became a gift bearer, I never figured it'd be my own corpse I left in Andra's depths. Still, it'll be good to do something I don't regret.
You give the diving helmet to Manaha just in case. Manaha smiles in grim thanks. Manaha hefts the hammer and swings it at the crystal. A perfect, clear tone rings through the air and resonates through your teeth. Seconds later, ripples shiver through the water. Something big is coming. Manaha lifts the hammer again and gives you a final nod. You scramble out of the flooded cavern and flee through the tunnels. Manaha continues hammering at the crystal, each strike magnifying the last. The echoes build into physical tremors. Meanwhile, a heavier rhythm pulses through the caves. Footsteps, dozens of them. You round a corner only to see a line of eyeless advancing. The creatures stagger to the rhythm of the hammer thuds below, yet they crane their necks towards you, racketing back their piston arms. Okay, I can cast a spell? No. Oh, it's my ability. No. What? Okay, Ringleader. Let's cast Ringleader. Consider who will cast it. Well, that's gonna be the Ring Mother. A bucket of eyeless near the middle of the procession roar and turn on their neighbors. Chaos ripples down the lines of the eyeless as the eyeless turn towards the commotion. Let's dodge past the eyeless. You sprint past the distracted monsters. Fortunately, the creatures are too focused on the hammering to give chase. They continue towards the cavern. Manaha maintains a steady tempo on the crystal. Eyeless gather in the cavern, where they batter the walls in time with their hammers' rhythmic blows. The ground shakes, falling rocks and shattering crystals splash to the ground. You flee through the dark, rumbling corridors. More spellbound eyeless shamble along, but they are too entranced by the swelling cadence to take more than an idle swipe at you. The tunnel narrows, light filters through the head. The exit must be around the next bend. But it's clogged with rubble. Meanwhile, the ground drops several feet at once, and the tunnel begins rolling on its axis. Oh man, what the hell? The distant sounds of rushing water echoes from the caverns. Okay, so lever the rubble with a pry bar. I guess we have a pry bar for that. There must be a weak spot, but it will take a practiced eye to find it. Well, that's gonna be me then. No, actually, Gilladel. Me. Yeah, me. You wedge the pry bar into several different nooks, but you can't seem to find the leverage point. Damn it. There must be a weak spot. Okay, so maybe Gilladel. Gilladel notices a loose boulder and wedges the pry bar beneath it. That's mechanics. A gentle nudge knocks it loose and sends the rumble rolling away. The moon shudders again. The moon, yeah, right, the meteorite. You escape onto the ice just as another thunderous crash sounds from below. Eyeless continue pouring into the cavern from every visible tunnel and crevice. Manaha's ears ring at the ever-growing cacophony of smashing rock and shattering crystal. Meanwhile, the water level is rising. A skull-splitting crack rends the air, and a surge of water knocks Manaha from her feet. The entire cavern rotates, plunging Manaha into a freezing soup of jagged metal, torn flesh, and stone. You dash across the lake. The ice squeals and crackles, rocking dangerously underfoot. The sinking moon groans. Long fissures race across the ice. Okay, so let's scout. The surface of the ice is riddled with cracks. Only someone who knows what to look for can find safe passage. Well, maybe Gilladel. Gilladel leads the way across the ice. All seems well until the party is halfway to shore. The ice breaks without warning, dumping you into the freezing lake. You climb out, numb and trembling. At last you reach the safety of the shore. In the middle of the lake, only the tip of the moon is visible above the ice. You watch in silence as it sinks into the depths. Manaha trudges through the rumble of the lake bottom. The water is freezing. The air in the diving helmet is acrid. The sound of Manaha's breathing is a muffled roar. Still, it's better than drowning. Manaha navigates out of the settling rubble and sees the ghostly light of the surface above. At last, Manaha reaches the shallows. Manaha punches through a thin crust of ice and crawls ashore, trembling but alive. Man, she survived! Amazing. I really didn't expect that. I really did not expect her to survive. That's really good. Yeah. I am glad. I am glad that she's around. Really, really glad. Because I would have died. If I had done that, maybe not. She didn't pass any constitution check or anything, so maybe. Maybe all I had to have is just the diving helmet. You stand at the edge of the lake. The bobbing of the ice and the rippling of the water surface slows until you're looking at the moment frozen in time. When the world begins moving once more, it moves in reverse. What? What do you mean by that? So I lost the Barongan's battle horn, and didn't I lose? No, I didn't lose the helmet because she brought it with her. The surface of the water churns and roils like it's about to spew something up, and it does. The fragment of Yoni Brother rises, unbroken. Ice reforms across the surface of the lake, spreading in long, freezing fingers. Eyeless file out of the moon fragments and onto the ice. They wind around the moon in a never-widening spiral. What the hell? They stop at the head of their They stop as the head of their line reaches you. They speak in a single voice that resonates with grinding metal and hissing steam.
We shatter and sink, discarded like worn tools. Why have you consigned us to oblivion?
Yeah, Ondra is oblivion. Yeah, there's a reason. Because you have destroyed Cadnua, Durgan's battery, and more. Their protest is as sharp and as squealing metal.
Blasphemy! These are jewels of civilization. They are sacred. We would sooner sacrifice our own bodies than dislodge a single stone from such a place. Why do you torment us with baseless accusations?
Baseless accusations? You were... Yeah, we were played for a fool, that's for sure. But who else could have done such damage to a mighty Bagrun fortress? The Eyeless are still, but you hear their gears whir as their collective spirit ponders this.
Then we were betrayed.
Yes. You were transformed against your will.
And we were made to betray something we cherish.
You feel their bitter agony like a hammer strike. What was that?
The bedrock of civilization.
Suddenly they attack the ice beneath them, slicing and shattering it with mighty swings from their iron arms. And where the ice breaks, ancient towers rise, blotting out the blue sky with white peaks. Those are Ingwithian?
Each culture builds on the bones of the last. Yet many only look up at where they would go, never down at the foundations that bear them. Like a mason who builds a listing tower.
The remaining ice sheet cracks and groans.
What peril do they inflict on their progeny? And what dishonor on their forebears?
You hear the strain of crumbling stone in the voice of the Eyeless. The betrayal of memory upset you greatly.
It is accepting a gift only to spit in the face of the giver. Every advance in the crafts and institutions of Kith was forged by skill and sacrifice.
You feel these words and the anger behind them in your bones.
A people cut off from their history will wither, and they deserve no less.
I agree.
That is why we must return to ourselves and restore Abidan.
What? Must return to ourselves? What do you mean by that?
When Ioni Brotha fell, Abidan lost much. His will to preserve the memory of how and why he died.
Yeah, Ondra took that away from him.
But he built us with fragments of his own soul.
Oh!
In returning, we can restore what was taken from him.
So perhaps... Oh, that's cool. So if you go to him, you'll remember. That's cool enough. Yeah, so perhaps Abaddon was meant to forget? No, let's not go with that. Yeah, very well. Return to yourself and be the god of preservation once more.
We shall see this world and its people restored.
A great wind shoves at your back. Your ears pop and you feel for a moment as if all of the air is being sucked from the sky. Oh boy, why is that? Oh no! Suddenly it ends, and you are standing in the snow, looking over Carrion's scar.
The Eyeless disappeared beneath the lake, their bond to Andra finally severed. With this threat ended, hope returned to the White March. Hunters returned to the wildernesses, and travelers to the roads. Tales of the Watcher's bravery replaced stories of monsters in the woods. The villagers of Stalwart busied their hands with work and their tongues with song, eager to seize on the promise of peace.
Quest completed. Lair of the Eyeless. I reached the crystal at the bottom of Yoni Brother fragment and struck it with Abaddon's hammer. I have also completed the Rising Tide, I think. No, that's a long one. A long gone one. The Forgotten Army, that's the one. So what did I do? I escaped the lair of the Eyeless, and as they died, their souls left their bodies. I was able to speak with them. They are fragments of the soul of Abaddon himself. I decided to allow them to return to their master so that he might remember the past, and that it was once the god of preservation. Pretty cool. And with that, we have completed the White March Part 2.
Leave it to me.
Leave it to us. So, right now, where do we want to go, really? I mean, we have completed everything there is to see. So, in this episode, I am surely going to complete the game and show you the things that we missed, that we didn't see when we first completed the game, back in episode 108 or 115 or something like that. So, yeah. I also need to kill the dragons. Nah, let's not kill those dragons. Those are too hard. I'm just gonna embarrass myself. I would like to kill them, but those are too hard. There's no way. So, yeah, let's just go back to Stalwart very, very quickly, and to talk to people, see what happens and whatnot. If there's anybody who cares, and if there's not, well, I am gonna complete the game, and I will show you what happens at the end of Pillars of Eternity, the White March Part 2, with, well, I guess it's no longer Part 2, it's just the whole thing, and, the, little, what's it called, the things that happen at the end, and that's not what I want. I pressed F. That's for formation. Let's check around, see if there's anybody around who cares that we have destroyed the Eyeless and whatnot. Actually, who was it that gave us the quest? Wasn't it the guy over here? Guys, hurry up. Got things to do. Royce, how's it going? I'm so happy our mill is back. Oh, yes, you are. Eora, what's up, man? So, okay, so he doesn't say anything. What about you, Darian?
We've doubled our manpower at the White Forge. Most folk here are excited, but anxious. There's already news of raid Sarens gathering at the border. Only a matter of time before someone takes a swing at us. But this time, we'll be ready.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, you will. Because I've restored... Oh, the White Forge will make us great. Yes, it will. Yeah, because I've restored the cannons and all that, so yeah, well, it's all good. It's all good. So, to the Great Winds, or whatever the name of that thing is, and to finish this fantastic RPG called Pillars of Eternity. That's gonna be it, folks. That's gonna be it. And here I stand, finally, at this Ingwithium machine. Theo's at my feet. Well, I went back, so he's not there anymore, but he's there. And, I destroyed his memories. And, he's banished. He, as in his memories and whatever he stood for, he is banished. Dead. Gone. And we are about to see again the ending of the game. I don't remember exactly when it starts, though, so that's the reason why I'm still out here. I'm gonna show you all the vignettes, I think is the word that I was looking for before. And, yeah, so we're gonna get to see again what we have done right and what we have done wrong. We have completed a few more missions, a few more quests than we had when I came here the first time. The only real quest that I haven't done is the phylactery thing for that skull that's following me right there, the Council Hots dude or whatever. So yeah, that quest is not done, but I don't think it's gonna appear in the vignette. So that's that. Pillars of Eternity. Let's see. So we're gonna get to make a choice. The game is freezing right now because it's making a save right there. Let's speak the command to activate the machine. And here I will make my choice. And my choice is to distribute the essence. To return the souls to the bodies they were intended for. Can I? You close your eyes and expand your perception outwards, taking in the immense totality of tens of thousands of souls orbiting the chamber. Your grasp on the souls is tenuous. You find yourself fighting to keep them all within your influence, and you can feel them slipping away from you as the machine gains speed. A brief moment comes when it feels as though you hold all of them at once, and their force is so great it feels as though they will tear you apart. In that moment, you dedicate your entire being to bending their orbit, channeling their flow in a new direction.
At your command, the ancient device became your instrument, spinning to life with deafening resonance and gathering up the swirling essence like thread on a great spindle. There, in the pale pulsing glow of the machine that set you on this path long ago, you summoned all your strength, focusing on your objective and blocking out all else. With a single concussive blast that rocked the chamber and sent you tumbling to the ground, you freed the souls from their stasis. Exhausted, your consciousness slipping away, your last sight was of the machine, dark and dormant. Then your eyes closed, and sleep welcomed you at long last. After coming to and searching for some time, you discovered the route Theos used to enter Sun and Shadow, and embarked on a long and arduous ascent back to the surface. You emerged in Ter Evron after days of tunneling through the rubble Theos had left behind, and when you stepped into the daylight, you were faced with a different Deerwood than the one you had left. At your direction, the souls diverted by Theos were guided back to the vessels originally meant for them. For the first time, parents of hollow-born children woke to the cries of their infants, and looked into their eyes to see them staring back. People fell to their knees where they stood, thanking Helia or Mogren, or even Aethys for their forgiveness of whatever guilt they felt they bore. But for all the relief that had come to some parents, others only found new grief. For many thousands of Hollowborn had died during Wide One's legacy, many by their parents' own hands. For those children, there would be no homecoming. Yet the last Hollow birth was in the past now, and those parents willing to risk trying for a new child were frequently rewarded, often with twins. Many felt they saw Helia's hand in it, and the year would be remembered as the year of Helia's splendor. Followers of Bereth have a saying that life is a debt all must pay in death, and their god is known to always collect what is owed. In breaking your word to Bereth, a debt was created. Souls were owed to the cycle, and the agents of the god of inevitability would not be refused. An epidemic of unexplained deaths struck Deerwood in the days that followed the legacy. Most often, the dead would be travelers on the road, known to be a favorite target of Bereth's Pallid Knight, who exacts impossible tolls from those who have journeyed for too long. The elderly, too, seemed to pass on in alarming numbers. But just as often, the deaths appeared to strike randomly, and for no reason at all. Those who sensed the involvement of the twinned god dubbed the calamity Bereth's Price, supposing it a payment for the end of Wide One's legacy.
Yeah, that was my bad.
Lord Radric's zeal had brought him back to life once, but it would not do so again.
Yeah.
Radric's destruction at your hands spelled the end of his suffocating rule over Gilded Vale and the surrounding area. In his absence, the village prospered, becoming a popular destination for new settlers anxious to leave Defiance Bay after the riots. Without a nearby ruler, it also grew more wild, with many settlers moving on as soon as they'd arrived, turned off by lawlessness that was excessive even by Deerwooden standards. Nevertheless, despite the challenges of living there, Gilded Vale had survived, and would continue to survive for the foreseeable future. Following the assassinations of Duke Avar Wolfgren and Lady Webb, Defiance Bay was thrown into political upheaval. In the ensuing weeks, the streets had become the domain of looters and blackguards. Few dared to step outside their own doors alone or unarmed. But order was soon re-established by the Knights of the Crucible, who, despite their depleted numbers, had gained favor in the public eye for their role in the unraveling of the conspiracy surrounding Widewind's legacy, and were quickly reinforced by returning forces from Fleetbreaker Castle. For the Knights, their resurgence marked a return to the tradition as well. Having seen firsthand the dangers presented by dabblers in animancy, the Order quickly abolished the practice internally, preferring the familiarity of their hammers and forges to the uncertainties of Essence and Adra. Their identity rediscovered, the Knights suppressed their political aspirations and began once again to train their recruits in the art of blacksmithing, recapturing the post-revolutionary ideals of Deerwood and regaining the respect of its citizens as a result. Though the machine atop Ter Noaneth had been disabled, it had not seen its last use.
Yeah, I didn't figure out
Hill
to...
was rebuilt, and no sooner had the first families moved in to resettle the district than members of the Leaden Key, acting under standing orders from their Grand Master, climbed the tower and reactivated the machine.
Yeah, I don't know how to...
The
could have
initiates slew
prevented
a handful
this.
of the new settlers under cover of night and watched as history repeated itself, the victims reanimating and devouring the survivors. After this second incident, the district would remain abandoned. The Duke's assassination at the apparent hands of an animancer had caused catastrophic rioting in the streets of Defiance Bay, and few animancers survived the first day. Many Deerwoodans took the end of Widewind's legacy as a sign, both that the gods did not approve of animancy, and that the purging of animancers in Defiance Bay had been enough to satisfy them. In time, their rage would subside, and a number of surviving animancers remained in and around Defiance Bay, often taking to the wilds to practice their science without repercussions. Abidun's renewal brought new vigor and purpose to a god long known for quiet, steady labor. Handicraft saw a revival in the Deerwood, and no smith wanted for an apprentice. Additionally, Abidun's restored interest in preservation led to redoubled efforts to survey Engwithan ruins. Animancers and craftsmen alike found much to study, but tensions with Aer Glanfath rose. As for Stalwart, the Battle of Caeron's Scar only strengthened their resolve to unlock the mysteries of Durgan's steel and build new marvels with the White Forge. However, Stalwart's ambitions brought them into further conflict with the Raid Serens, as more and more impoverished communities gathered at the border and vowed to finish the work of the Iron Flail. It would be many generations before the region saw peace. The Flames That Whisper clan found a cautious peace with Stalwart, particularly once the villagers heard of the aid the ogres had offered against the Eyeless. The clan moved back into the Russetwood, and as Stalwart grew in prestige, the villagers formed a tighter alliance with their ogre neighbors. Within a generation, ogre traders visited Stalwart, and village hunters were welcome in the Russetwood. Harmka's death had brought the Devil of Carrick little satisfaction. In time, her taste for vengeance soured. What replaced it was a hunger to feel something, anything, new. Summer had thinned the snowpack twice over when she felt the joint at her elbow first begin to stiffen. She turned her back on the hopes of animancy and civilization and walked east. She pushed through the mountains, past Raid Ceres, and into the broad plains of Ishamiddle. She had forgotten what it was like to simply journey, no goal or destination in mind. Though she felt nothing more than the steady thump of her feet on the road, the endless horizons and grassy meadows were new to her. She measured her time in the gradual rusting of her body and was satisfied. Her movements slowed, but so did the world around her. Waist-high grasses undulated and tacked in the wind, as gradual as the tides. Sparrows and blackjays made steady pilgrimages across the sky, each flap of their wings a solemn salute. She could hardly move when she found something she had never seen before, the ocean. With the last of her strength, she pulled herself beneath the water, content at last to feel the movement of currents and the constant caress of the waves. Once Maneha had made peace with her memory, she decided the time had come to face her more recent past. For the first time in decades, she returned home to Rawatai, and she found that it had changed as much as she had. New districts had sprung up along the coast, while others withered into crumbling husks, and the streets had changed their course as surely as rivers. Her parents wept with joy at her return. They still ran the old spice shop, and in its many aromas and flavors, she found memories of the places she'd traveled and the people she'd known. She told her story, bottle by bottle, and began to build a life on the soil she knew best. The fortress of Cadnua emerged as a bastion of security in the midst of an untamed land, becoming the envy of every thane and earl in Deerwood. Legend grew over time of its impregnability, and stories of formidable invaders easily scattered by the keep's defenses became popular around the hearths of Deerwoodinians. Likewise, it also became a beacon to travelers, merchants, and visiting dignitaries alike. Reputed as the finest fortress in all Deerwood, people would journey from near and distant lands alike to experience its fabled hospitality and grandeur. After the death of the Master below, a strange quiet fell over the endless paths of Adnua. The attacks on the fortress above ceased, Adnua's silent titan the closest remaining thing to a master in its musty, forgotten passages. Adair chose not to return home to Gilded Vale. Through a number of quiet inquiries, he soon found his way into the underground organization of Aethasians known as the Night Market. Ironically, in learning that the gods had been fabricated, Adair found his faith in Aethus renewed, and that his god was neither alive nor truly a god had become irrelevant. He rose quickly through the ranks of the Night Market for his optimism and for his bold leadership, his ultimate goal to make the Deerwood a place that would welcome followers of the Shining God once again. When the dust settled in Sun and Shadow, Aloth looked upon the remains of Theos Ixarchanon, his former master. He saw where the Grand Master had gone wrong and what would be required to undo the harm Theos had wrought. With a flick of his wrist, he burned Theos's robe, headdress, and every other symbol of the man's power. Never again, he vowed, should Kith live in fear and blind obedience to an authority they did not understand. Armed with the knowledge and courage he had gained on his journeys with the Watcher, he set out on the long and lonely task of dismantling the Leaden Key. After all that he had learned in the Watcher's company, Kanarua could no longer see meaning in his pursuit of the Tanvi Oratoa. He decided to leave what remained of it within the depths of the Endless Paths and return home. Kana bid the Watcher farewell and sailed back to Rawatai, spending the tempestuous journey reflecting on the time he had lost to the pursuit of falsehoods. His family found Kana much changed, his fiery excitement replaced with a weary solemnity. Determined to change his wandering ways, Kana took up a quiet life as a lorekeeper at the college, teaching young students the traditions of their people. With Theos defeated and the souls released from Sun and Shadow, healthy children were born once again in the Deerwood. The grieving mother sought a place where she might do penance for the birthing bell. She returned to Deerford, where, to the astonishment of the villagers, she delivered the first healthy child in over a decade. She remained there, and with each new birth, she saw a measure of hope restored to the Deerwood and a measure of grace for her own troubled past. Durrance used Magrin's strength only until Theos had been cast from the world, and then swore off her influence entirely. Regret came to weigh heavily on his mind, and a man who had never previously lacked for words or opinions came to embrace silence and contemplation. He continued to wander, penniless and destitute, searching now not for the reason for his goddess's silence, but for a mechanism for revenge. The charred robes he continued to wear as a reminder that he had been burned by his goddess, and not just by the flames of the Godhammer. You and Sagani never found Persok together.
Yeah.
The Adra figurine had gone dark by the time they emerged from Sun and Shadow, and it was another month before Sagani finally accepted that Persok's trail had gone cold again. Her search took her beyond the Deerwood and as far as the Living Lands. She saw the great coastal cities of Rawatai, and the ruins of Old Valia, absorbing the details of these strange and distant lands. 20 years passed before the Adra figurine finally glowed again. When it did, she followed its signal to a quiet hamlet on the outskirts of Adir. There, she met a young farmer and told her of her past as an elder of Masuk. Sagani returned to a village that had forgotten her face, but remembered her story. Masuk greeted her with cautious warmth, and Sagani found that their ways had become strange to her. She also learned that Kalu had perished of winter fever a few years before, and her middle child, Najuo, had died in a raid. But she found her daughter Yakona a hunter and mother of 3, and her son Malak a builder of mighty walls. In them, she came to find her place in the village, and the familiar contours of a world that had changed in her absence. For you, the death of Theos brought an end to your waking visions, and a silence to the whispers of the past. In their absence, you were able to sleep. The questions of a distant lifetime ceased to trouble your soul. All that remained was what to make of the answer. But at the moment, there was little to be done, and the matter would have to wait. A long journey loomed ahead.
I don't know. There are a few parts of the ending that really stuck to me since the first time. There were a few lines that I remembered very, very clearly, even though it's been more than a month for me since I finished the game. But yeah, I've said about everything I have to say about Pillars of Eternity. In regards to the ending of the second part of the expansion, I liked the plot way more, especially considering that there was more plot. I also liked the choice at the end. It was interesting. The whole thing about Abaddon and whatnot. It didn't change a whole lot of things, but it was still very, very interesting and pretty fun. It was way more fun than the first part for me. I liked well, probably because I I had a bit more experience and a little bit more firepower just in general. But yeah, I enjoyed it very, very much, and I enjoyed Pillars of Eternity very, very, very much. It was not my favorite RPG of 2015, because 2015 was a pretty amazing year for RPGs, I would say. We got Pillars of Eternity, we got Witcher 3, we got Underrail, we got the Age of Decadence. There were a lot of very, very nice RPGs and other games that I played as well, not just on the channel, but just in general. But this game has been quite a journey for me, and all I have to do is thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for sticking with me. If you have been here from the beginning, then thank you so much. You have seen me grow. I've started this game back in August. That's been almost half a year. Actually, at this point, I can't do math right now, but it's been almost half a year. I had 80 subscribers when I started, and right now I have more than 1,500, and I'm amazed. And thank you guys so much for being here. I cannot say it enough, and yeah, I would say it all the time. I would just record. I mean, thank you guys, but no, I guess you guys wouldn't be here anymore if I just did episodes like that with me thanking you. But really, honestly, thank you so much for watching. I have enjoyed playing this game on the channel a lot. It's a different dynamic than from playing it alone, because I don't have as much time to pay attention. I need to commentate and whatnot. But I'm gonna be playing this game, I think, in the years to come a lot, and there are just a lot of choices to do and a lot of things to do differently and roleplay and whatnot. But Pillars of Eternity, I think, has been set in history as a very, very nice, very nice return to the roots for Obsidian, I think. I really like Mask of the Betrayer, but ever since that expansion for Neverwinter Nights 2, I think Obsidian was, they owed us this game. They really did, and I think they delivered it. I hope that Pillars of Eternity 2 is gonna be even more awesome, but, I guess only time will tell. Only time will tell. For now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Pillars of Eternity. As I said before, I really hope you guys have enjoyed it. I really do. And if you did, or if you didn't, if you have anything to say at all, just leave a comment down below. Say hi, say bye. Like the video, or dislike the video if you are set to see this go. But you can be sure that I'll be back for some other video. So, I guess that's bye-bye. I suck at goodbyes. I really do. Well, I'll see you guys later. Bye.